No weirdos. Welcome, y'all. Let's do reaction. I found some throwbacks. Who remembers this background picture from the 90s? The school background picture for girls. If you grew up in the 90s as a girl, you had that background for school. What's up, guys? What's up, Joshua? What's up, Braden? Thanks for coming in, y'all. Yeah, the food was so good. I ended up having a steak salad. I cut up my New York strip and put it in my salad. What's up, Julian? I love y'all too. All right, I want to see more throwbacks. Look how much hair I had as a baby, for real. All right, we'll go from baby to little girl to teen. So I did dance class. This is a dance picture recital. There's a story behind this. This was my first ever beauty pageant when I was little, and I actually won. But I only did like two or three pageants. I wasn't like one of those big pageant girls. We didn't have the money like that. For this, I was so nervous. I went up against girls who were doing this every year that had money. I borrowed someone else, one of the girls in my dance class. I borrowed her communion dress and wore it for the beauty part. And that's what I'm wearing here. Borrowed dress. Just, I don't know. I was so nervous and shy when I was little. And there was like a mean girl there from like the fucking movie. And she looked just like the girls on Princess and Tiaras, the makeup, hair, and she was so stuck up. She had it, she thought she had it in the bag, and I remember beating her. I remember being happy. So here's teenager me. I had real long hair. They braided my hair. So remember when I told y'all I was in a group home as a teenager, like my whole teenage years? The girls in the group home braided my hair. And this was a weekend though. I was like at my dad's for something, but they used to braid my hair. Hey, Polly. I was a cat here. I was like 10. Thank you, Hunter. This was New Year's Eve when I was like 15. These hats were big in the 90s. Remember Blossom? But yeah, this was me and my son's father. I was living in the group home, but it was a weekend and we were invited to some cookout in the hood. We went, but I was like 16. Rest in peace. This is my mother, me and my brothers. Thanks, Hunter. What's up, Dan? What y'all want me to do, reaction wise? I'm good. I'm not mean. Promise. All right, y'all, let's react. Give me some videos. Who can we do? I'm bored. I need to do a video. Five Below. It's okay. Yeah, for certain shit, you know. Why you like it? I need love. Why you say that? Well, everyone can use love. Nothing wrong with that. Y'all know it's been a rough year for me. It's been one hell of a ride, but I'm getting through it. Finding myself at 40 years old. Bear with me, y'all. That whole marriage was traumatizing, but just being with the whole narcissist that many years is traumatizing in itself. But I'm doing better. I have my days. All right, give me some videos to react to, y'all. Help me out here, Polly. Mhm. You're 46. Yeah, it's so crazy how like shit comes full circle as you get older. What do you mean, help me? Oh, I can sign into my account. Thank you. Needs trimmed. All right, y'all. About to do a reaction. Ooh, Egypt Chris got knocked out. The girl who was gonna fight Krishan. Look. Damn. That was the girl who was supposed to fight Krishan Rock. And everyone thought she would have like whooped her ass, but watching this, but then again, I think the other girl she fought was like a real fighter. Egypt isn't, from what I know. And I don't know though. She got knocked out way too quick right there. Was that the first round? Anyone watch that? Hope they don't block this.
All right, Jenna Lisa. Jenna Lisa, where did you grow up? Where are you from originally?
I am from West Palm Beach, Florida, born and raised my whole life there.
Tell me about your family growing up.
So I was born to a mom and a father that probably shouldn't have ever had kids. I met my real dad one time when I was 16 and when I was a baby, but don't remember that. So I was significantly raised by my mother,
Y'all
and she
seen the
was a single
title?
mom. And my early years.
So it says this girl is an Epstein survivor. And I never seen one of the Epstein survivors on Soft White Underbelly yet.
She was my hero. She was my everything, you know. We were always together. And, but at the age of 5 was like the horrific stuff with her started to happen. She moved us from Florida to New York for a short time. And that was my first experience of something really traumatic. This guy would beat my mom. He never hit me or did anything wrong to me, but I would watch her get beat. He'd come home from work and the food wasn't warm enough, and he would take the pot and hit her. And
Daniel, you said I can't follow you. What the hell are you talking about? Well, if you can't follow me, then just keep strolling, honey. Cave, you said you gave up boxing. Yeah, that's cool. You used to box. My kids box. Well, my 13-year-old mainly. And guys, I'm so happy. My subs, remember I told y'all the fight my 13-year-old got into, and I was gonna post the fight, and then I made a post saying I'm not. My mod said maybe not. I'm about to, because how about my son's boxing coach? He posted the video of the fight my son got into with the bully, and he posted it on the website page to the boxing gym, and he's using it as like a learning video because my son did so good and they were so proud of him. But I might post it, honestly. And the only reason I was going to post that video in the first place is because you could see clearly my son was bullied in that video. 13 years old to a 16-year-old. That's 6'1", and my son's 5'3", and the kid in the video takes his shit. He tried to rob my son. And you just see my son not backing down and getting his shit back and going at him. And I'm so glad I put him in boxing. But yeah, his coaches were so proud and they posted the actual video because I told y'all the kids on the street videoed or recorded the whole thing.
stripped her down naked, throw her out in the snow, and then tell me that I couldn't go out there and get her. It got really bad to where he almost killed her, and that's when she finally decided.
Daniel, shut up. Get out of here if you don't want to be in here. I wasn't talking to you about boxing. Did you not see the comment from Cave about saying he used to box? Yeah, obviously not. Let me get him out of here. He's a weirdo. I'm feeling weird vibes. Some of these dudes come in here and get weird if I don't like pay attention and talk to them right away, like dead ass. And they'll tell me that too. Like, you're not saying hi to me. You're not. I don't know what his problem was.
To leave. It was one of the most horrific nights of my life. I was 5 years old, and he was just beating the crap out of her.
It's horrible for a kid to see.
And I went over to try to stop him, and he got mad, and he like pushed me out of the way, and he was telling me to like stay out of it. And all of a sudden, he was gone, and I was just like sitting there holding my mom and crying and telling her we had to like call my grandparents, like we had to leave. And he came back out with a gun and put the gun in my hand and was screaming at me to kill my mom. Wow. So that was my first, our world changed there, you know. It wasn't just me and her anymore. And that was like the tone that set everything for her. I think that ruined her in a sense, you know. We got out of that situation and we went back to Florida, and thank God my grandparents were just always so amazing and did everything that they could to take care of us. And but my mom just was always a very promiscuous always needed a man in her life, always picked the
That's a
wrong
shame.
one. And it just always, that was
Lives life. Clock that.
our life for
Sound
quite a
familiar,
while, to
y'all?
just always having a new boyfriend and moving and all of that. And
That's love live.
Were drinking or drugs part of her life?
so she would drink and do drugs in the beginning, and it was very minimal, at least to me at that time. As I got older, the pill epidemic really started taking over, and her friends were very much involved in that pill epidemic, and they would doctor shop, and the pharmacies weren't connected, so they would go to from one pharmacy to the other one so that they could fill multiple scripts, and it got really, really bad. Like, I would sleep in her bed because I was worried that she was going to catch the house on fire from smoking cigarettes, because she would drop them on the ground.
Oh my God.
It got so bad to the point, I would say from the age of 9
I want to hear how she met Epstein.
to, I mean, even to this day, she's still that into drugs. And, but it got really bad when I was in middle school. And I think that really changed how I perceived life and how I looked at things. You know, I went from being a great student and all of that to hanging out with the wrong friends and just really wanting friends and wanting a place to feel safe and understood, because my whole life was so crazy all the time. And one day I came home from middle school and her boyfriend's being wheeled out of our house, and he's dead. He OD'd. And I like watching him get wheeled out of our house, and she's just not shocked. And I had to bake wreck her multiple times, you know, and at 12, 13 years old, I'm having to bring my mom into
Baker Act is like a 5150.
Yeah, and it was very sad, and I would have to beg her and cry. And if she was coming off she was taking so many pills that when she would not have them, when she would come off, she'd start hallucinating. She would hear people walking by her windows. Her friend passed away. She would tell me all the time that she hears them. When we would be laying in bed, sometimes look at me and she'd say, like I was her sister, and she'd be like, Pinky, promise me you won't tell Dad. And like just crazy off the wall things. Especially when 9/11 happened and the war was on the news all the time. One morning I woke her up and I told her that she needed to take me to school, which was very rare for her to do. And instead of taking me to school, she drove us to the back of our neighborhood, which was a dead end. You couldn't get out. And she kept telling me she was shipping off. She was going to war. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I'm so confused because I didn't realize that she was hallucinating and that she was seeing this stuff. And she's like, the ship's right there. And I start panicking the more. She takes her shoe off and she's like talking into her shoe. She takes her keys out of the ignition and she's writing on the steering wheel like it's a note.
I feel bad for the daughter.
I'm just panicking. I don't know what to do. Like that was our first time with her losing her noodle pretty much. And I remember just trying to get her back to our apartment building in the front of the complex. And we get there, and I finally get there, and I tell her, I was like, come on, we have to go upstairs. I get her upstairs, and my grandmother was living up north at the time, and I didn't know who to call. I had nobody, like, around me to call for family or anything. And I called my grandma, and I was just crying, and I was like, what do? I don't know what's going on. She's like, just keep her in the house. I'm going to call your aunt. We're going to figure something out. And she had got my aunt to come and help me. But in that time waiting for someone to come and save me, I'm over here being the parent and taking care of her. And I did get her to go to sleep. And that's when I started being very snoopy in her room. And she had wrote letters to me, my brother, my grandparents, about going to the war. She had her bags packed. She really thought she was going. And I remember just sitting there and I was like reading these letters, and my heart just broke for her. And I think that's when I really realized like how bad our lives had gotten.
How old were you at this point?
Probably I was 12. So It had always been bad, but it just got really bad. And there was no saving it anymore. Like, and I would lie for her to my grandparents and say things were better than what it was for such a long time, because she used to always tell me, "You're the only one that loves me, that truly loves me." And because it was just me and her for so long, that I really believed that. But like, it was me and her against the world. And it got so bad that I just couldn't. I couldn't keep it in anymore. And I told them everything, and they were horrified to know how bad it was. I mean, there was times we didn't have food in the house because she was more worried about having pills. And there was, she just gave up. She lost who she was. She lost that spark. She lost the woman that I knew her as to be. You know, she was strong, she was courageous, she had goals, she was beautiful, and she just gave up. And I was the brunt of it too. So I feel like she kept me around because it was easier for her to get guys to provide for us. When she's like, "I'm a single mom, it's me and my daughter," you know, because my brother lived with his dad and not with us. So it was just me and her. And she would use that to
That's
gain so that we could have our bills paid. Or
that sounds just like Love Live. These bitches don't want to get a job.
things met, or she would lie to them and say, "Jenna needs this for school," and then she would use it for drugs, and I still wouldn't have those things for school. You know, I used to remember in 7th grade, my feet grew larger than hers, and
Come on,
I would
honey. How'd
shove
you
my
meet
feet into her
Epstein?
shoes because
That's what I want
I
to know.
wanted to have cool shoes like my friends, and she would only do things for herself. And uh, you know, first bra, I stole it out of her dresser. It was just she got so caught up in the drugs that she lost sight of being a mother, and I became the parent. Thank you.
She needs to go to therapy.
My dad was giving me a hard time about not watching the news enough, so naturally I gave him a hard time right back. I told him most of what we're shown is designed to alarm us, not inform us. And that's why I asked Ground News to sponsor my channel. Ground News is so you can actually see where your information. Same story. So if your plan,
Knew everything, right? And started running my own show.
She's been through traumatic experience. She needs to talk to someone.
Because they had rules and my mom didn't. And at 13, you start seeing things. But if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have ever had school supplies every year, a lunchbox, clothes. I, my grandmother would buy everything for me when I was up there for the summer. My mom never did. And it was like that my whole life. My grandparents were always the ones stepping in for that void for her. I mean, even up until now, they still do that. They fill that void of her. So drugs were a huge thing for me. Or not for me, but for my mom, and just living in chaos, pure chaos. I was always just taking care of her. By 7th grade, I was over it. I was mad. I started getting very mad at the world, and I was mad at my circumstances. I was mad at her. I was looking for love in all the wrong places, and I made a friend, and that friend was probably not the best friend that I should have befriended. And I befriended her because I was scared that she was going to beat me up. So that should have set the tone on like what our friendship was going to be, right? Like I started a friendship because I feared her, and that fear became like protection in my eyes, because she was protecting me. If she's on my side, she's not going to beat me up. If she's on, so that kind of friendship led me into meeting boys and older high school boys, and learning things that I didn't necessarily knew. So you would think that I'm so mature because I went through so much with my mom, but there was still so many things that I didn't know about life and people. You know, I knew about drugs. I could tell you as soon as my mom took a pill that it was going to hit her soon. You know, like I could see it in her face. I could understand that aspect, but I didn't know how to be a normal child almost. And I started.
Your teenager develop depression, anxiety, or eating disorders after becoming addicted to social media platforms?
Smoking marijuana and drinking and hanging out with the wrong crowd, and still was not sexually intimate or anything with boys or like that. And I would get made fun of all the time. They would call me Virgin Mary and almost peer pressure me to have sex because they were having sex, right? Like even my girlfriends, like not the boys, the girls that were my friends were like jealous that I wasn't. And it was always so weird to me. And I hated being called that because it felt like I was like missing something, right? Like, why are they making fun of me for something that now I know is such a cherished thing, but they were making fun of me about it and calling me a prude and like all of those things, and really set like, I guess, something in me, like made me always question myself and like my like who I was sexually, or like that I wasn't moving fast enough, or you're supposed to be hitting these guidelines of things that should happen and I wasn't hitting them, right? And everyone else around me seems to be getting it. And I'm like, well, why are we doing this? And so that friend stayed my friend for a while, and we went through middle school together, and she was such a great bad friend and great friend at the same time, because my mom had gotten so bad, you know, we wouldn't have food in the house, and she would pack extra sandwich or ask her dad for a couple extra dollars so I could get lunch at school. And for me at that moment, that was a friendship, right? That was the friend that I needed, because my own mom couldn't provide for me. She would sneak me when I would run away from my mom. She would sneak me into her house and let me sleep under her bed and get in trouble from her dad, you know, because he always would find me and find out I was in the house. And if he didn't, her sister would tattle on her that I was under the bed and purposely get her in trouble. But we went through all of middle school, and I started really skipping school a lot in 8th grade. And so was she. And I ended up failing and she didn't. And I couldn't understand how we were both skipping school, yet she passed and I got held back.
Hey, Chen.
So she went on to high school and made some friends.
My night's good. How your night? I'm just trying to get through this because I'm trying for her to get to the Epstein part. But I cooked and I worked earlier. Came home, chilled, cooked. Now I'm doing this. Got a double tomorrow. Thanks for coming in.
That were older than her, and I would hang out with her on the weekends because now we don't go to school with each other anymore. And one weekend she asked if we wanted to go to this friend's house. That they were just a couple girls and they were hanging out at her house, and no parents were going to be there, so we could smoke and you know, bullshit. And I was down, you know, I'm going to go hang out with the girls.
Don't work too hard. Yeah, I know.
So we go over to this girl's house, and there's like 5 or 6 of them hanging out, just like she said, in a trailer park. And everyone was just having a good time. They're laughing, they're joking, they're being girls, like, you know, normal teenage girls, I would say. And they started making fun of like this guy named Jeff and just talking about like massages and stuff. And that he was a creepy old guy.
Thanks,
And
Trent.
they're laughing and they're making very light jokes about the situation. And
this is an interview on Soft White Underbelly. Have you ever heard of that channel? He interviews people, and this girl's supposed to be an Epstein survivor. She hasn't got to that part yet.
then the a very popular girl. I mean, something about her even to this day could make you do the craziest things. You know, she's beautiful. She seems like she has it all together. Very outgoing. You know, she can sell your own shoes right back to you type of personality. So it was very enticing. There was just something about her. And she was like, well, if you guys want to go, you guys can make $200 giving this creepy old guy a massage. And
Oh,
my
there you go with
friend
the
at the time was like,
massages.
do you want to go? And I was like, do I want to go? I was like, yeah, you know,
Dirty old massage parlors.
I
That's
went
the
from a
oldest
point
trick
where
in the book.
I
Hiring
would
you for
steal
massages.
lunch money
Meanwhile,
out of friends' backpacks and gym class to have lunch. So being offered $200 to give a massage, and that's what it was told to me was, didn't sound like that bad of an idea, you know? Like, how else am I going to
them
make that
bitches
kind
are
of money?
turning tricks in
And
there.
being that age and not being able to work. And the girl was so excited when we said yes. And it's broad daylight, middle of the afternoon.
No,
And
not
she just starts getting us ready and she's making it seem very fun.
not everyone's creepy if you like it massages. I'm just referring to, you know, the underground ones that are, you know, trying to portray like they're just really upper like massage therapists, and it's not that. Some of their clients are rich, some are just guys off the street coming in there, and they'll offer the girls money to turn tricks.
You know, she's let me wear her clothes, which I don't have those clothes from the mall. I wore clothes from Walmart. So it felt fun. And she was taking an interest in me. You know, she was telling me I was pretty. She was, you know, almost like hyping
They
you
always
up.
get
Like, we're
rated and
going,
shut
but it
down
was for
on
a
the
massage.
news.
But I didn't understand why she was being so nice. Now I do, but then, and after about 30 minutes of getting ready, she's like, all right, the cab's here. And I was like,
Snap your W-2 and file your taxes 100% free. Plus, get your biggest refund.
we get into a cab, the three of us, and we leave off of Okeechobee and Drexel, the trailer park, and you go straight down Okeechobee Boulevard to go to Palm Beach Island. And we get to the bridge, and we're going over the bridge, and I just remember being really shocked seeing it. It was like all this money that I knew was out there, but had never actually saw it. And we're just miles away from it and never knew that. You know, my mom wasn't taking me over there she had no point to go on Palm Beach Island. And so we're going.
When she says Palm Beach Island, it reminds me of Gilgo Beach Island. I want to do a reaction on that whole thing one day. Did you ever hear of it? The Gilgo Beach murders. They said they caught the guy.
Over the bridge and I was just like blown away. I was like, holy crap. Like, this is like, I was thinking in my head, I was like, this is where the famous people live. Like, they really do. And we drive over the bridge to dead ends, the road. And then we made a right and a couple streets down. And then we turn right again and we go down this road and it dead ends again. But his house there's the house. And she's like, oh, we're here. And, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, his name was Rex Henderson, I think. He was the serial killer in Gilgo Beach. For years, they had unsolved murders. Bodies kept showing up of young women, Gilgo Beach. Most of them are prostitutes. But they said they found out who did it. He's in jail.
Like, when we pulled up to his house, I was like, she wasn't
He's in
kidding.
jail.
Like, he is a rich old guy. Like, and I hadn't even met him yet. So I was like, okay, trying to like tell myself I was gonna be okay. You know, you're like, all right, I'm with the girls, nothing bad's gonna happen, this and that. And she had warned us that like we would each go up and massage him for like.
Yeah, and the dude they arrested, that Rex Henderson, he's so creepy looking. He's like 7 foot, huge, humongous, awkward man. He was a businessman though, but he was so awkward. And the girls, there was like one who survived and one who went on a date with him and never met up with him again, thank God. But she even said how weird he was, and It's just scary. You never know.
30 minutes by ourselves. Like, that's just how he liked it. And that he may ask us to take our shirt off, but you don't have to do anything you don't want to.
Oh,
And I was
bullshit.
like,
That should have been
and
the
she
red
does us
flag.
that part in the cab, right? When we're
Right
already
there.
on the way. And I'm like, okay, all right. Well, she says you don't have to do anything that you don't want to, blah, blah, blah. So we get there, we enter in through the kitchen. There's house workers working, maintenance guys out front. There's a cook lady inside, I'm assuming, maybe a
Mm-hmm.
secretary. I don't really freaking know what her job was to do there, but she offered us drinks and stuff.
Either she really knew what was going down and she wanted the money, or she was naive as hell. She did mention something about growing up in a trailer park, I think. So she was manipulated and just naive. They do prey on girls like that, or girls who've had a rough life.
And the girl brings my friend up first. She goes, I'm going to bring her up first.
They wanted
and
the
I was
money,
like,
he
okay.
said.
And I'm just sitting at the kitchen
Probably.
waiting. And she takes her up there and she comes back down and she's chatting with me when she comes back down. But my friend comes back downstairs like within 5 minutes. She wasn't up there. Like, as long as it took her to bring her back up, she was right back down. And I was like, well, that's not what she said would happen. And I'm like trying to make eye contact with her to like be like, everything, like, what the hell happened? And she's like acting like nothing's wrong. And the other girl's like, all right, it's your turn. And she brings, so there's like no time for us to have a discussion on, hey, what just happened up there to you before I go up. And the girl brings me up there
I'm
and
telling my
she
girl,
brings me into the
that were
room, the
me.
massage table set up, and I thought it was weird that he
Girl,
wasn't
I'm
already
warning you
in the
somehow.
room since my friend was just up there. And we get into the room and she's like, he'll be in a minute. And she's like, go ahead, take your shirt off. And pretty much tells me to get naked. And I'm like standing there and I'm like, she's like, you can leave your underwear on. Like, just very quick.
Yeah,
And then she
nude
like leaves. And I'm like
massages.
standing there and I'm like,
Huh.
don't know what to do.
What do you
Do
think's
I
gonna
take
lead
my
to a
shirt
nude
off? Do I not take my
massage?
shirt? Like, you're conflicting, but then you're also like, I don't want to make this girl mad.
Most
She's
are
telling me
whores
like all of that. So
that work
you
there.
do as you're told, right?
You're how old?
I was 14 at the time.
Not all. Okay, she was underage, so hers, I didn't know that. That's totally, totally wrong. She was definitely manipulated, taken advantage of, the whole shebang, and they need to be in jail. She's 14. But the ones that aren't, most of them, not all, but most of them are foreign women. They're whores. They don't give a fuck. They just want the money.
Yeah. And so I'm just standing there waiting for him, and he walks in a towel, and he lays face down, tells me to grab the massage oil, and he's directing me the whole time on what to do.
I can't really say nothing, even if she did want the money. She was 14, so even if she might still wanted the money at that age, but she seems like, I don't know. But either way, it was wrong because she was 14, so in her case, I'd have to say she was definitely taken advantage of. But the grown-ass women ones, them bitches, I agree. They want the money. Yes, I did, Trent. And she said they were eating people. Yep, I believe it 100%. 100%. Matter of fact, what was, what was her name?
You'll never know how much I love you. When you're gone, I just
they ate humans. Yeah. That shit's real.
In 2009, this young woman named Gabriela Rico Jimenez appeared on the Mexican news making a frantic conspiracy theory style rant in which she dropped the names of several powerful Mexican politicians and the awful things she witnessed them doing, including eating human flesh. In the middle of her outburst, she was taken away by police officers. Although this appeared to be some random schizo,
Fucked
word
up.
quickly spread that this was actually a
Trying to
famous
make her
Mexican
out to be
model.
crazy.
After this event, she was never seen again, and every trace of her has been removed from the internet, leading people to think there may actually be a sinister truth behind what she was saying. This rabbit hole goes deep, with people trying to find out what happened to her and what is being hidden from us. I've done a little bit of digging, and I found some fairly conclusive evidence to debunk these conspiracy claims. And I even think I found Gabriella
got you,
herself.
Trent.
But before I reveal what I found, let's start from the beginning. On August 4th, 2009, this clip was shown on a Mexican news station showing
2009.
Gabriela Rico Jimenez in front of the Fiesta Inn in Monterrey.
This shit
She was
been
wearing
going
a
on
ripped
for
shirt that said
decades.
"Yum Yum," spouting a nonsensical rant. She speaks about being imprisoned by young and powerful people in some sort of conspiracy that began in the middle of 2001. She talks about how people were killed, including someone named Mourinho. She goes on to say that a man named Carlos Slim was responsible for this. She continues to shout at the hotel staff, saying they know what she's talking about, and that she wants them to be given the maximum prison sentence.
Wow.
She goes on about being taken to a police station and mocked for what she was telling them.
It's a shame.
Near the end of her rant, these claims get even crazier, saying these people would eat human flesh.
Believe it.
At this point, the police arrived and they took her away.
Wow.
She was never seen again. Shortly after all this occurred, several bloggers decided to take a deeper look into this to figure out what exactly she was talking about. A few early bloggers pointed out that Gabriela was actually a well-known supermodel, making runway appearances in Mexico City, Paris, and New York. Apparently, she even made an appearance on the Mexican version of Cosmopolitan magazine. Her high-profile status would make this rant and subsequent disappearance all the more eerie. Oddly enough, if you look up Gabriela Rico Jimenez, you will find no evidence of her ever being a model. It's as if, aside from this news appearance, she was a ghost. Because of people's insistence that she was indeed a famous model, it has been speculated that people behind this conspiracy wiped every trace of her from the internet in an attempt to silence her and reduce her credibility. In Gabriela's tirade, she mentions that Carlos Slim was behind all this.
Yeah, Trent said she tried to warn people, but they didn't listen. Yep, that's usually how it goes. Yeah, I remember that. That shit was crazy. That was in 2009. This shit been going on way longer even before that. It's terrible. I mean, and I'm so pissed at our government and how they're going to drop the Epstein files and redact the names of the perpetrators, you know? But yeah. All right, y'all. Well, it was fun. I got to get up at 7 a.m. and double tomorrow. So I'm going to get off. Anyone new in here, like and subscribe. Thank my subs for coming in tonight. Y'all have a good night. Bye.